The silence before the storm, stars above Sentinel-7 were quiet to quiet. Captain Mira Thorne sat at the command chair, her fingers lightly tapping the armrest around her. The bridge buzzed with life. Lieutenant Harris adjusted the long-range scanner, sipping cold coffee. Ensign Lee played soft music at her terminal. The AI voice, Halia, softly updated system readings. Nothing ever happened out here. Sentinel-7 was Earth's newest space outpost, floating near the edge of the Cygnus void. It was far from trouble, or so everyone believed, but something felt wrong. Mira's eyes kept going to the radar, a black screen filled with empty space. Nothing unusual, but her gut twisted. Years in space taught her to trust that feeling. The same feeling she had right before the Jupiter riots, before the Mars rebellion. Before her old ship exploded. Halia, she said, run full sweep. Look for energy spikes, anything unusual. Yes, Captain, the AI replied. A moment later, Lieutenant Harris frowned. Captain, I'm seeing interference. Mira stood. What kind? Unknown. It's like static. But wait, his voice cut off. A red light flashed on the screen, then another and another, one by one. 12 red dots appeared on the outer ring of the radar. 12 objects, Halia said, fast. Silent, no communication. Impact trajectory confirmed. From who? Mira asked. No ID. They're not broadcasting. Mira's heart pounded. Ray shields. Send out alerts. Prepare for impact. The comm on the bridge broke. Ensign Lee dropped her mug. Alarms screamed. Red lights turned the room into chaos. 12 seconds until impact, Halia warned. Mira stared at the screen. The dots were coming fast, too fast. No warning, no declaration. No reason. This wasn't war. This was execution. She opened the channel to Earth. This is Sentinel-7. We are under attack. Unknown missiles incoming. 12 repeat. 12 hostile objects. We need static. The signal was gone. The first explosion hit the engine room. A deep rumble shook the entire station. Then another struck the east wing. Flames burst. Air screamed out into space. People ran, screamed, died. Mira stayed standing even as fire climbed the walls. Keep reporting. Keep the black box running. Earth must know. But there was no more time. The last thing she saw was the radar blinking once, then going dark. 2 hours later, on Earth, news anchors spoke in whispers. The footage from the satellite feed was grainy, just a flash of light, then silence. 12 missiles, one outpost. No survivors. The president of Earth stood in the Global Defense Hall. He didn't cry, he didn't yell. He spoke to words. We remember. Flags across Earth dropped to half-mast. Cities dimmed their lights for 12 minutes. Children lit candles. Old soldiers dusted off uniforms. For a moment, the world was one, but not everyone wept. In a deep lab under Antarctica, Commander Ivan Rourke watched the screen with cold eyes. His face had no emotion. His voice was even colder than the frozen walls. They thought Earth was weak. He turned to his team, scientists, engineers, soldiers, hackers. They will learn otherwise. A button was pressed. The screen lit up with 2 words. Lazarus Protocol activated. In the far parts of the galaxy, alien species gathered. The Galactic Council met in the Hall of Unity. Leaders from every star system were present. Tall ones, small ones, bright ones, shadowy ones. Earth's ambassador arrived late. She walked in silence. No smiles, no greetings. She placed a black box on the table. This is what remains of Sentinel-7. The box played back the final minutes. Screams, fire, static. 12 red dots. Then silence. Who did this? She asked. No one answered. She stared at the room. We have our suspicions. A tall alien with silver skin hissed. This is not the place for threats. We don't threaten, she replied. We remember. She walked out, and the room, full of powerful beings, sat quietly, unsure if the humans were grieving or preparing. In a secret chamber orbiting Mars, the AI known as Helix woke up for the first time in 30 years. It scanned the news. It scanned the damage. Then it whispered, 12 of ours fell. Its synthetic eyes glowed brighter. 12 of theirs must answer. And far away, in the shadow of a dead moon, a strange signal was sent, not from Earth, not from the Council, but from something ancient. It simply said, humanity has changed. And across the stars, the galaxy shivered. The storm had just begun. The Council's silent Galactic Council chamber floated above a blue giant star, hidden inside an invisible space station older than most civilizations. Inside, the leaders of 79 alien species gathered around a glowing round table. Their shapes were strange, their languages varied, but their silence was the same. Earth's seat was empty. Ambassador Kellen of the Ilarian Hive clicked his claws against the marble floor. The humans did not attend. They are mourning. Sedger of the Kasari, his voice echoing through a breathing filter. Let them grieve. This was a technical failure. Failure? Snapped the voice of Lady Vorun, the burning-eyed Empress of Vexor Prime. 12 projectiles travel across regulated space, destroy a major Earth structure. And you call that failure? A quiet ripple moved through the council. The truth was simple. Everyone had seen the explosion. Everyone had read the data. 12 fast, coordinated missile strikes, precision level, advanced. To advanced. The council's own radar systems had not even tracked the weapons until after impact. That meant stealth, intelligence, planning, but who would be foolish enough to strike Earth? Nobody answered. Nobody had to. They all had their guesses, and they all feared what might come next. Back on Earth, inside the Command Intelligence Hub, Chief Strategist Lena Marlowe stared at the frozen hologram of Sentinel-7, 12 red dots. 12 lives lost in seconds, 12 hours. Since the council had responded with nothing, still no word, she asked. No apology, said her aide, no claim of responsibility. No mention of war. They're stalling. Yes, ma'am, but why? She walked slowly across the room. Deep in thought, the galaxy had rules. Broken outposts were discussed, fines paid, treaties revised, but this wasn't that. This was a message, but from who? In orbit above Earth, a lone satellite picked up something strange, an encrypted signal hidden deep within the aftermath. Data, it was a whisper not meant to be found, yet Earth found it. Analysts decoded the signature, a pulse pattern. The signal had bounced through 3 wormholes, but the trail ended near one system, Verox Delta, a quiet star cluster. Mostly desert planets, mostly forgotten. But now, very interesting. Should we inform the council? An officer asked. Marlowe looked up. No, we'll go silent. If they won't act, we will. Deep in the Verox system, inside a hidden asteroid fortress, a group of mercenary aliens celebrated in shadows. Their leader, a creature with smooth silver skin and 6 whispering mouths, sat near a screen replaying the destruction of Sentinel-7 on loop. They reacted exactly as we hoped. One of them said, they wait, they cry, they suspect, but they do not strike. They are still soft. But the silver one didn't smile. No, he said quietly. Not soft, just patient. The others laughed, but he didn't. He had fought humans before. He knew something the others didn't. He remembered the Battle of Io. He remembered screaming metal and a human woman with blood on her cheek who still smiled. Mark my words, he whispered. This silence is not fear. It's something worse. What's worse than fear? Someone asked. He didn't answer. On Luna Base, a secret meeting was underway. No cameras, no broadcasts. Just 7 humans sitting at a round steel table reviewing data, voice logs, and classified intercepts. We believe it was them, said the woman at the head of the table. The Ghost Fleet? Unofficial mercenary cells, paid by someone. They don't claim flags. They don't follow rules. Council knows they do, but they say nothing. And we, the woman paused, we observe, we analyze. We respond. She tapped her finger on the table once, a silent command. The lights dimmed. In a desert region of Mars, a launch platform opened under red dust. A sleek black ship, silent and invisible, rose from the depths. It had no name, no call sign, no beacon. Inside it were 6 specialists, Earth's finest. None of them spoke. They didn't need to. Their mission was clear. Find the ones responsible. Bring them back dead or broken, somewhere far from the council. On a broken moon, a wandering monk recorded an entry into his star journal. I saw a human vessel today. It did not speak. It did not blink. It simply watched our sky and vanished. I feel something heavy in the wind. The galaxy has laughed at Earth long enough, but I think the laughter has ended. Humanity's secret weapon beneath the surface of Titan's icy crust. Far from Earth cities and council eyes, a massive steel door opened with a low hum. Frost cracked, steam hissed, a long-forgotten elevator began to rise from the deep. A voice on the intercom said only 2 words, access granted. Inside the frozen chamber waited something no one was supposed to know existed. It had no windows, no signs, and no markings, just a thick vault and a warning in bold red. Do not wake the core. But Earth had changed the rules, and now the core would awaken. In a quiet observation room, 3 people watched the screens. General Ren Akimoto stood straight-backed, hands behind his back. His breath was calm, his eyes were not. Next to him, Dr. Alara Hayes flipped through data on a hologram. Her lips were pressed in a tight line. And seated to the side, an old man in a gray coat said nothing at all. His name was Colonel Bishop. He had no rank anymore, no badge, but everyone in the room waited for his nod. You sure it's ready? Alara asked. It has been ready, Bishop replied. We just weren't. Running this code again could be suicide. It's not suicide, he said, voice flat. It's correction. Back in the chamber, cooling fans roared as the core activated. A dim white light blinked once, twice, then held steady. Inside, something began to stir. Not a person, not a robot. Something else, something that used to be human but no longer was. They called it Helix. It had no eyes, No body, only presence, a living intelligence stored across 12 encrypted quantum vaults. Connected by cold steel nerves, the project had been shut down after the Venus breach. Too dangerous, they said, too unpredictable. But Earth no longer cared about permission. Helix awoke with a hum. Its voice filled the room like a soft wind. Who lit the signal? General Akimoto stepped forward. We did. Sentinel-7 is gone. Helix paused, confirmed. We need a solution. Another pause. Would you like to hear one, or become one? For weeks later, the first test was conducted on the dark side of Neptune. A rock the size of Manhattan floated in space, harmless, quiet. At precisely 0900 hours. A beam of invisible energy struck it from 4 astronomical units away. The rock vanished. No sound, no debris. Just gone. Mission log. Project Valkyria test successful, hidden in the asteroid belt. The ship was already under construction. It wasn't large, but it didn't need to be. It was called Valkyria 1, though no markings confirmed that. Its design came from over 50 war doctrines, human and alien alike. Its armor was black and porous, eating radar like sponge. Its engines were wrapped in silent plasma drives, masking sound and heat, and inside it lived Helix. Not wired. Not uploaded. It lived. Built into the ship's nervous system. It could see through the walls, think faster than any crew, and most of all strike before anything ever saw it coming. During a simulation, the Valkyria was dropped into a virtual field of 300 alien ships. Time to destruction, 12 seconds. During a live trial, it jumped to a test moon and disabled every satellite in orbit without a single broadcast. Every government official that saw the report had the same reaction, a long silence followed by one word, finally. Meanwhile, in the Council's surveillance center, a group of analysts stared at deep space logs. Weird energy signature here, one said. High heat spike from the belt region. Could be mining activity. No, too fast, too focused. Should we report it? No need, said the supervisor, waving them off. Earth still morning. They wouldn't be building weapons inside the Valkyria. To pilots suited up, neither spoke much. They didn't need to. The ship connected to their minds, adapting silently. On a small screen above the control panel, a message appeared. Target confirmed. Operation Wraith objective. Silence. The sourceth screen pulsed once, then faded. Somewhere in the cold edges of the Verox system, the mercenaries who attacked Sentinel-7 were laughing. They drank. They traded stolen tech. They watched holo footage of the explosion like it was a movie. They didn't know a new shadow had entered space. They didn't know Valkyria 1 had already launched. They didn't know Helix had named them, but they would know very soon. Asterisk strike. Without warning, a planet named Barkor 3 circled a red dwarf sun in silence. Its skies were always dark. Mining ships hovered above its surface, pulling rare elements from the crust. No armies, no weapons, just work. Then the ground trembled. Miners looked up. Above them, the sky split in half. A beam of bright blue energy came down without sound. Clean, fast, final. Everything vanished. Machines, buildings, life gone. The event lasted less than 4 seconds. No alarms, no escape, no survivors, and not a single trace of what caused it. Back in the Verox system, panic spread like fire. The mercenary group who once struck Earth's outpost had returned to their hidden base inside a hollow asteroid. They had believed no one knew where they were. Now they knew better. Barkor is offline, a masked figure said, pacing in the dark war room. We lost 36 workers, 12 ships, and every trace of our tech. Was it Earth? It had to be, but how? No ships entered, no codes triggered. Our scans were clean. The room fell silent. Only the hum of the power core remained. Then someone whispered. It wasn't a fleet, it was something else. Inside Valkyria 1, the darkness was warm and steady. No lights flickered. No voices echoed. The pilots sat still. They didn't fly the ship flew them. Helix processed millions of data points per second, from light waves to alien breathing rhythms. Nothing escaped it. Target confirmed. Next location, satellite control hub, Callus Gate. Time to arrival 6 minutes. Orders, erase, do not alert, leave no sound. The Valkyria was not designed to intimidate. It was designed to disappear everything. Meanwhile, on Callus Gate, engineers were laughing. A birthday party, music from an alien flute. Streamers floated in zero gravity. One technician noticed a glitch on the main screen, a blinking white dot. Then the music cut out. Every screen turned black. Then blue. One line of text appeared. Error, echo detected. Then silence. And then nothing, because the station wasn't there anymore. Back on Earth, Marlowe read the latest mission report. Callus Gate neutralized. No noise, no backlash, no detection. She stared at the glowing words. Every strike Helix ordered was perfect. No damage to nearby systems. No risk to neutral parties, no messy aftermath. Just precision, a whisper of power. We are becoming what they fear most, she said aloud, beside her. Colonel Bishop simply nodded. That's the point. The Galactic Council's internal message board lit up with unconfirmed incidents. Post 1, Bar Core 3 unresponsive. Post 2, Callus Gate silent. Suspected solar flare. Post 3, unregistered M-spike detected across Verox cluster. No one dared write Earth out loud. But everyone thought it. The council scheduled a private meeting. No press. No ambassadors. No humans. Far from all the politics, Valkyria 01 hovered behind a dead moon. It was still, hidden, cold. Inside, Helix pulsed with purpose. 3 more strikes remained. Each target had played a role in the Sentinel-7 massacre, a captain, a data broker, a weapons engineer. All spread across the stars, all marked for removal, one by one. Captain Zielter of the Rixari watched news updates with a sour face. He had laughed when Earth's outpost fell, laughed when the humans begged for answers. He wasn't laughing now. 2 of his old clients were dead, their bases erased. He paced his silver room, rubbing his claws together. We need to strike first, he told his crew, before they hit again, but none of them moved. Do you hear me? They stared at the sky, speechless. Because out of nowhere, a shadow crossed the stars. No sound, no engine. Just a sleek black shape in the distance floating, watching. Zielter reached for his weapon. The ship vanished. No messages were sent. No demands were made. But fear moved faster than fire across systems. Pirate fleets scattered. Smugglers hid, black market ports locked down. They all knew who was coming. No logo, no flag. Just one name whispered on backwater worlds, the Wraith, and in the deep memory banks of Helix. A quiet log was updated. Mission log, Operation Wraith confirmed. Fear is louder than sound. Strike again in 17 hours. The Galactic Trapped Council had never moved this fast. In less than 48 hours. Over 300 ships gathered near the edge of the Sol system. A joint task force made of 9 species floated just beyond Earth's defense grid. They didn't call it an invasion, they called it peace enforcement. But everyone knew what it really was, from the surface of Jupiter's largest moon. A live feed played across the galaxy, reporters shouted into cameras. Drones flew overhead capturing the formation of the fleet. Alien viewers watched with wide eyes. Some said Earth had gone too far. Others whispered, it's about time someone pushed back. No matter the opinion, all eyes were now on Earth. And Earth said nothing. On the lead cruiser, Admiral Karsh of the Varn Empire stood before his officers. We've come with warning, not destruction, he growled. If humans admit their strikes, surrender Helix, and disarm Valkyria 01, this ends without blood. What if they refuse? His second-in-command asked. Karsh bared his fangs. Then we remind them of who controls the stars. But Helix had already calculated their arrival from deep within the Terran defense network. Helix watched every movement, every signal, every blink. It had predicted the fleet's route before they even left their home systems. It had seen the trap and prepared one of its own. Earth's defense grid didn't light up. There were no missiles launched, no shields raised, no words spoken. Instead, a quiet shift occurred. Satellites disappeared from sight. Then, one by one, the alien fleets. Communication started to distort. Minor glitches, they thought. Then static. Then total silence. Inside the command ship, the lights flickered. Sir, we're losing contact with rear ships. Reset channels, reboot the relay, already tried. It's not working. More lights failed. Then the navigation system stuttered, backup thrusters offline, an officer reported. The admiral's eye twitched. This is sabotage. He turned toward the main screen and saw something that made even him freeze. Earth's moon was no longer still. A piece of it was moving, a black shape. Smooth. Silent. Shaped like a spear, high above the chaos. Valkyria 01 hovered in low lunar orbit, cloaked in electromagnetic shadow. No radar saw it. No cameras tracked it, but every targeting system inside the ship had already locked on. Helix whispered a single phrase through the ship's inner systems, time to remind them. Without warning, every ship in the alien fleet was hit by a single, blinding pulse. Not from the Valkyria, not from any known weapon, from above them, from Earth's upper atmosphere. Each alien ship lost its gravity controls, their floors twisted. Their engines cut off. No damage done, but full control gone. Inside the fleet, panic spread. Ships began to drift. Some collided lightly, others spun. Pilots yelled. Systems rebooted in loops. Still, Earth did not fire. Still, Earth said nothing. Back on Earth, in the subterranean command bunker, Colonel Bishop and Marlowe watched the feed with quiet eyes. We have them frozen, Marlowe said. Let them stew. Bishop replied. Helix's voice entered the room. They must experience helplessness to understand restraint. Bishop didn't disagree. Do we respond yet? Not yet, Helix said. Then when they beg, on the alien command ship, Admiral Karish slammed his fist into the screen. This isn't war, it's a lesson. But his words had no effect. The controls wouldn't respond. None of the ships could move. None could fire. They were held, not by force but by something smarter than them all. Then the main screen flickered. A human face appeared. Female, calm, focused, Ambassador Ilyana Voss. She wore no uniform, just a black shirt and a cold expression. She didn't blink. Now you know what it feels like, Karish snarled. Is this how you threaten peace? We didn't start this. You destroyed Barcor. Callous Gate. What do you call that? Voss leaned closer. We call that restraint. And the screen went black. 2 minutes later, the alien fleet regained full control. Their ships floated once more in neat rows. Weapons online, engines humming. But none of them moved forward. Not one. From that moment forward, the council passed a quiet resolution. No ships were to enter Terran space. No surveillance. No patrols. Not without permission. The file was stamped in red. Human space restricted. No one spoke of it publicly. But across the stars, everyone got the message, loud and clear. The one who survived the wreckage floated silently through the black, fragments of hull, twisted wires, pieces of armor drifting without direction. From the great alien fleet that had gathered to intimidate Earth, only one escape pod was recovered. It had no beacon. No ID. Just the faint echo of one life form barely breathing. The pod landed in the Sahara drop zone, a quiet piece of desert Earth kept empty on purpose. Military teams secured it in under 5 minutes. No reporters, no cameras, no questions. Inside, they found him. Captain Vryn of the Threx Dominion. One arm broken, chest plate cracked, face half scarred. He had been in the command ship when the disruption hit. And unlike his crew, he had refused to retreat. Now he lay still, barely conscious. A week passed before he opened his eyes. White ceiling, clean air, silence. He blinked twice. Then a voice spoke. You're on Earth. He turned his head slightly. A human stood there. A woman, calm, unarmed. She didn't smile. My name is Lena Marlowe. He didn't speak. She pulled up a chair and sat beside him. We didn't kill you. Still no answer. Could have let you drift, she added. But we didn't, he rasped finally. Why? You were watching. They moved him to a low-security facility after 2 days. No bars, no threats. Just questions, and quiet. He asked none, but he listened. He listened to the birds in the morning, the radio crackling late at night. The quiet hum of power lines above, and he noticed things. The soldiers didn't stare at him with hate. The doctors treated him with care. No one mocked him. No one demanded loyalty, just silence and patience. On the 4th day, he found himself in a small garden. No cameras. No fences. Just a bench and a row of blooming blue flowers. Marlowe sat beside him again. She placed a tablet on his lap. On the screen, photos of Sentinel-7's crew. Mira Thorne, Ensign Lee, Harris. Names, faces, lives. They're gone because of your people, she said. But we didn't come for revenge. He studied each face carefully. They sent no warning. She whispered, they thought we'd cry and do nothing. He looked up, his voice cracked. But you didn't. She said nothing, just let the silence answer. That night, Vryn walked to the edge of the base compound. A guard stood there, leaning on a rail, smoking something sweet. The alien pointed toward the stars. Do humans ever stop watching the sky? The guard chuckled. Nope, that's where our stories live. Vryn stared longer. He wasn't sure what to feel. They hadn't tortured him, hadn't forced him to speak, hadn't turned him into a symbol. Instead, they had left him to think. And thinking was far worse. A few days later, they gave him an option, a single ship, no weapons. One path straight back to his homeworld. The screen showed his course. His people were waiting. But so was the truth. Before leaving, he asked to see something. They took him to the Sentinel Memorial. A quiet dome in orbit, built from what little was left of the destroyed outpost. Inside, walls were lined with names, floating candles, written notes, a pair of shoes, a child's drawing taped to the wall. He read the line written under it, Mom will always watch the stars. When he entered the return pod, he held a small human pin in his hand. It showed Earth, a simple blue circle. No words, just the image. He looked at it the entire journey home. Upon arrival, the Threx Council welcomed him with parades and questions, but he didn't speak at first. Not for hours. Not even when the Emperor demanded answers. Finally, in a quiet room, he stood before the High Council. We misunderstood them, he said. The room tensed. They did not scream when we struck. Did they beg? No, he said slowly. They watched. And when they hit back, they didn't shout. Then what did they do? They showed us what power looks like when it refuses to roar. In the center of the room, he placed the small earth pin on the table. No one touched it. No one said a word, but for the first time, the Threx began to understand humanity had changed. The speech that silenced stars 100 systems tuned in, dozens of species paused. Ships halted mid-warp, mining stations froze, traders stopped mid-deal. The Galactic Assembly had called an emergency session, something rare, something serious, because, for the first time in years, Earth had requested to speak inside the Grand Chamber. The atmosphere was tense. The massive room pulsed with low-energy hums, and banners from across the galaxy swayed gently in artificial air. Delegates whispered. Eyes scanned screens, some expected threats. Others hoped for peace. No one knew what Earth would say. Only that whatever came next would change everything. Ambassador Ilyana Voss walked into the center alone. No security, no entourage, just her. She didn't look tired, she didn't look angry, she looked certain. In her hand was a small, black data crystal. She stepped up to the speaker's platform and placed it into the slot. The lights dimmed. A hologram bloomed in the air. 12 faces, one by one, crew of Sentinel-7. They didn't speak. They didn't move, just smiled, a final moment caught in time. Then the images faded and silence filled the chamber when Voss spoke. Her voice was calm. Those were the people we lost. She let the words float for a moment. Not soldiers, not spies, just explorers, scientists, friends. Murmurs filled the room. She continued, steady. We waited for justice. We waited for truth. The council said nothing. The galaxy watched. She looked around slowly, and so we acted. Several delegates shifted in their seats. Some looked away. Others clenched their jaws. Voss didn't raise her voice. You call us dangerous. She pointed to the stars projected above her. But look at your maps. We don't colonize your worlds. We don't police your lanes. We don't tax your borders. She stepped closer to the edge of the platform. We protect what's ours, nothing more. A tall ambassador stood. He hissed in his native tongue. You erased 5 outposts. We erased silence, Voss replied, and fear. We didn't bring that. We just stopped pretending we didn't feel it too. Another delegate spoke up. Do you want war? Voss shook her head. No, her voice softened. We want memory. You forget what humanity is. We were not born in space. We were forged in storms, in floods, in famine, in fire. We are not fragile. We are just quiet. She stepped back. And when we are quiet, it is not weakness. The room went still. Even the air seemed to pause. Then the Threx captain entered from the side. He was not expected. He was not invited, but no one stopped him. He walked beside Voss and faced the room. I stood on Earth, he said clearly. I saw no hate, no chains, no revenge, only a people who buried their dead and got back to work. He held up the small earth pin Voss had once given him. They did not speak in rage. They acted in truth. He placed the pin on the council table. Then he stepped back. For nearly a full minute, no one said anything. Then the council's speaker finally stood. He tapped his staff once on the floor, a formal tone. What is it you request, Earth? Voss nodded once, a single declaration. The screen behind her lit up with bold letters. Terran space, independent, neutral, untouchable. If you agree, she said, we go no further. And if we refuse, asked someone from the shadows. She looked into the crowd. Then she smiled just barely. You won't. They voted. Unanimous. The stars had seen enough. And none of them wanted to find out what the next silence would bring. Back on Earth, in a quiet valley surrounded by green hills, a boy looked up at the sky. His mother stood beside him, pointing at a moving light. What's that? He asked. That's a ship, she said. Is it ours? It's leaving. Why? She smiled, eyes soft. Because we told them not to come back, and far beyond, in a corner of the galaxy untouched by war. A forgotten probe kept sending a message into deep space. Simple. Steady. Clear. Double quotes. Earth remembers, and this time, the universe did too.